Beautiful souls, friends and family, soul tribe, Venus lovers. Welcome back to my channel. This is Dr. Dani, physician astrologer. That's right, I am celebrating this weekend. I have a big milestone birthday coming up. Birthday number 50, solar return number 50. And I am going to show you why birthdays are so important to me. About 5 years ago, I had my astrology red pill when I realized that the astrology that I had been practicing did not match the actual sky. And I call it tropical derangement syndrome. And I'm not putting tropical down. I'm not putting any astrologers down at all. It's just for some people, when they realize there's a disconnect, they go into an incredible tailspin. They wonder what they have been doing their whole life. They wonder if they have been serving their clients in the best way possible because they haven't been necessarily practicing the actual sky. So it's a real thing. It really does happen. Some people that realize it are fine with it, and they make sure that they know that when they do their astrology. So I think it's really important to preface any kind of astrology work you do with the disclaimer of what you're actually using. Are you using Vedic, which kind of matches the sky? Are you using tropical, which doesn't match the sky at all? It's a completely different system. Or are you using constellational astrology? And so that's what we're doing here on my channel. That's what I want to show you. I want to give you the sense of what I went through on my birthday a few years ago, and to celebrate with you my coming milestone solar return. So I'm really, really happy and honored to be here to do that with you guys. I do have one thing I want to call out before we get started. Excuse me. Thing one, the only thing I guess, is summer school. So summer school session 2, the lunar nodes and evolutionary destiny, being taught by my friend and colleague, Don Bird, through my system and my course platform. That starts on August 8th. Any of you that were in summer session 1, the business and financial astrology course, please check your emails. There is a discount code for you guys exclusively to get a discount on summer session 2, because I really want you in that course. So on the 8th, some modules will drop. We'll start dropping modules for you guys, and it'll be all about the lunar nodes in the constellation, the lunar nodes in Ophiuchus, the lunar nodes with 13 houses. You won't get this anywhere else. And I am so excited to be able to present this to you with Don Bird's expertise. So the links are below for that. Check that out. If you all need a reading, my schedule's lightened up quite a bit the next several months, so please get a reading. That's what I'm here for. I want to help you through any tough times you're having. I am about to get really personal with you guys because this is a milestone birthday, and I don't really mind sharing my birth chart with you. Since a lot of you that have been with me from the beginning know me already, we'll just dive into it, and we can talk about the whole process of becoming aware of the cosmos and what it can actually do for you, because my solar return is really, really tough. I have a lot of squares. Most of you, I think, if you see the squares that are coming, would be like, oh my gosh, how can I help you? But let me tell you what happens when you are connected to the cosmos. It's different. It changes everything. The squares are not so much tensions and lessons. They're more like, oh my gosh, let's learn this next thing. What do I have to change to do that? And there's a whole bunch of other aspects that are available to me right now that I can use. Okay. So, oh my gosh, let's get started. And I have some pictures also to share with you guys. So let me start by sharing my screen. Um, Also, hopefully you guys saw the new moon video. Hopefully you guys saw the astrology of the Olympics. We're in full swing of that. Mercury is going retrograde halfway through all of that. So that's super interesting. Um, Don and I did a live chat on Wednesday. Hopefully you guys were able to see that. So we can, we talked about all kinds of things. It was really, really wonderful. All right, let's see. All right, I want to go back in time here. Okay, let's zoom out. This is a screenshot from the Apple iPhone app called Night Sky. For those of you that don't have Apple phones or Apple devices, you can still get Night Sky. And it is wonderful. I'm going to give you maybe a quick demonstration if I can. Let me stop sharing. I'm going to open up this app on here, and I want you guys to see. Okay. So this is what you get. And you can turn the sky And you can look up, you can look down, and there you can see, as I look down, that I can see the sun and Venus. Okay. So, like, you can do that. You can flip through the whole entire sky that way and see where everything actually is. And so I had just downloaded that app, I think. I don't even know. It was a new phone, and I just wanted to be a little bit more in touch with the sky. Be able to look it up and just say, yeah, I know what that is. I know what that is, and I know what that is. That was really my only goal. And since it was my birthday, I said, all right, I've been a Leo my whole life. Let's see what the sun actually looks like in Leo. Because when, it's in your sign, you can't see it because the sun's right there. It blocks out all the stars. It's very bright outside. So I said, all right, let me see what that looks like. And this is where the screen landed when I pointed my iPad directly at the sun. So you can imagine, okay, imagine identifying your sun sign as a Leo your whole entire life. In fact, I think my younger aunt, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, said, Dani, you are a Leo. I said, okay, cool. What's a Leo? And I learned about Leo, and I never really felt comfortable in my skin as a Leo. And boy, did my life change when I turned that screen to the sky and I saw, okay, the sun is in Cancer. And I actually like checked all the settings to make sure that the app was, set to the right century and all that. And then no, in fact, it was August 4th. And I think it was 2019 or 2020, something like that. I pushed it up to the sky. I was like, holy crap. And I told my husband, I said, hey, look at this. And he was like, yep. And I said, why is that? He says, I don't know. And so that began my journey of understanding astrology from a constellational viewpoint. So that's how we're going to look at my chart with the where everything is right now, how it aspects to my how it aspects back to my natal chart. But first, I wanted to take you guys through a quick tour of some Dr. Dani baby pictures and see if you guys can experience the same amount of joy I did when looking at these. So here's my birth chart. We will get back to that. Um, you can see the sun here in Cancer. The sun actually goes into Leo around the 7th of August. So I'm still cuspy Leo, but more of definitely a Cancer sun. So I had to come to terms with that. What does that mean? Cancer. Ooh, I never really thought about Cancer, but okay. That's me when I took my first breath, still attached to my mother. There's the doctor. I don't even remember his name. It was 1:30 a.m. in the morning in Pinehurst, North Carolina. There is baby Dr. Dani right there. There's me a few months later. Look at those cheeks. Look at that happy baby. Oh my gosh. And then this one made me cry. Look at my beautiful parents. Oh my gosh. They were so young. Do you know how old they were when they had me? They were 20 and 21 years old. So imagine yourself at that age with a young little fireball Dr. Dani in your hands. But yeah, they're both still living. They've been married for 51 years, and they're coming to visit me on my 50th birthday. So they look a little different nowadays, but hey, so do I. So there you go. Look, there's my first YouTube thumbnail right there. Just kidding. I don't know, probably about a year and a half. Just a big ham. They always said I was a ham. I love to be in front of the camera. So Leo Sun totally made sense to me. Um, but yeah, got all my teeth, big blue eyes. You can't really see my little moles, but they're there. Let's get you a little older. There they are. There's those little moles. See, definitely another YouTube thumbnail for sure. This was before digital phones and digital cameras, you guys. So you actually had to take your film to the store to get it professionally developed, or sometimes you just had a professional photographer and they did it for you. This may have even been before instant film. So there's me learning how to fish with my dad. He took that picture. I was like, ew, fish. There's me, just a little bit older. There you go. Just kind of coming into myself, probably a preteen there. Oh, the bangs. I wonder if I could do that again. Yeah, we dressed different back then too. All right. Always love the water. I live about 3 miles from the coast right now, so that makes perfect sense. You can see the joy. There's like less joy in that face and like so much more joy in the face. I loved being on the water, always have. There's me, my first prom. I think I was a freshman, and that's my piano. It's my mom and dad's house. My mom made that dress actually. She made our wedding dress too. I wore her wedding dress on my wedding day. That's me and my best friend in right as I was starting high school. Yep, big hair back then. We were just hanging out. And then there's me my senior year. So those are lots of my children pictures. I have some adult pictures, but I still look the same. So there she is, thumbnail number 5, I think. So, all right. So this is my solar return. Now you'll notice the date's a little bit different, you guys. Where my birthday is actually August 4th, the solar return is August 3rd. And the reason for that is because you want the sun to return to the exact spot in the sky that it was the day you were born, which is 17 degrees of Cancer. So if we go back to my natal chart, back through all these cute pictures, you will see that the sun is at 17 degrees of Cancer. So that's what I did. I went ahead and I picked that day. And it's about a day before my actual birthday that we celebrate. Okay, this is actually the day of the big party when everybody's coming over, all of our friends and family. So it should be pretty fun. It's a nice day. I already did the full moon report, this is the day before the full moon report. So a lot of these aspects are still very much the same, very much present in the sky. Let me if you guys want to review that energy in depth for what this coming weekend is going to be about, I highly recommend that you do that. It's all about psychic abilities, our psychic abilities coming to the forefront. Cancer, the sun and moon in Cancer is our outward expression and our inner expression in the deep, intuitive, empathic, and compassionate energies of the Cancer sun and moon. So this is just a very nice feeling, very flowing, very spiritual energy. And Pluto is opposing this. So once the moon passes over that opposition, once it completes that opposition to Pluto, because I believe they are approaching on the 3rd, after we get through the 4th, it will be past that. This is a purging energy. There's going to be an emotional purging of some sort that will heighten our spiritual abilities, our psychic abilities. So a little bit to go through on Saturday night through Sunday morning. But once we get through that opposing Pluto should be passed. So yeah, so there's that. And then you've got, this opposition between Uranus and Lilith, and the Venus is T-squaring this energy. So this is a fiery Leo energy that is asking us to break pattern for our creative purposes. And then we've got Jupiter and Mars together in the constellation of Taurus, which is on my ascendant in my first house. So I've also matched it up so that it matches my actual natal energy, because I have Taurus rising with Alcyon at 3 degrees above the horizon. And so I wanted the cloth of the sky to also match the degrees of the sun. So this was the closest approximation I could get to a solar return. So and then where Neptune is forming a grand trine with Lilith and Moon, this is also very spiritual, very psychic energy as well. Now, Jupiter and Saturn are in a square right now. So this might feel like we're a little bit trapped, like the expansion that we want to go through, especially with the assertive and aggressive energy of Mars. We might be feeling a little trapped over this weekend in general. That's the energy for everybody. But wait till you guys see my chart. Oh my God. Oh, this is crazy. 5 years ago, I would have cried, but now I'm like, okay, I know how I feel right now. I feel pretty good. But we're just strewn with squares. So I'm going to treat this like I would treat a client chart, and I'm going to try not to think of it as myself as much as I can. It's always hard to do my own chart. But I guess self-awareness is always good. So here are the suns lined up for the solar return event, which will actually be the day before my actual birthday. Couple of things I'm going to point out right away are the conjunctions. So here is Saturn conjunct my natal Jupiter and Ceres. And then I've got Jupiter conjunct my natal south node. Moon conjunct my Mercury. I've got the South Node conjunct my natal Pluto. And then Mars is conjunct, Mercury is conjunct my natal Mars. Okay, so those are the conjunctions that are going on. Oh, yeah, and don't forget this elephant in the room. The Chiron return. Okay, so I have a lot of stuff going on that day. The big things are this Chiron return, the Saturn over my Jupiter. That's huge. Jupiter over my South Node, and South Node over my Pluto. And those are just the conjunctions. Those are the big ones. Okay. And I left out Moon and Mercury only because they're so quick. It's really just a brief energy. Um, so Moon and Mercury and Sun, I kind of left out because Saturn, Jupiter, Chiron, and the South Node move a lot slower. So then I also want to point out a couple of bigger transits that are happening. One that's been going on for the better part of a year and will continue for about 5 years is this Pluto trine Pluto. This is magic right here. So this is what I've been really, really just geeking out on over the last couple of years, making some very big, very profound changes in my life. The other one is a Mars square to Mars, and then a Jupiter square to Jupiter. But this is a bigger square because this is a T square here. And then, you guys, I've got a mystic square here going on with Mercury, Chiron, natal Uranus, and transiting Pluto and transiting Chiron. The moon's in there too. Okay. So I'm going to go through sort of all of this, and hopefully I won't make any of you cry because it's really not that bad. Squares are challenges, squares are learning opportunities. And I think when you're really well supported, or when you have high emotional intelligence, that you do a lot better when things come your way, when challenges come your way. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Chiron return, and I am experiencing this. This is very, very personal. I'm going through physical changes as well because of it's just the age where women go through menopause, and so there is a lot of like letting go of things that I used to emotionally care about, things that would bother me 10 years ago. They really don't bother me anymore. It's almost like a gift. It's like it's almost like you go through life and you realize, oh wow, there's so many other bigger, deeper, more profound things that I am dealing with right now that I really don't care about this silly little issue that's happening over here. Y'all work it out. Let me know what you need me to do. So there's a lot of that coming through, and that is very nice. That is very nice. I don't think that people are born with this, especially empaths like myself, Cancer energy. We just feel into everybody else's stuff, and we just take it so personal, especially where Chiron is right there, because it's wounds of the collective. It's feeling cut down. It's having love for the collective and then being cut down for that love. Okay, that's my deep subconscious wound, and that is what I've been overcoming. I was a very shy, introverted person prior to y'all seeing me on YouTube. There's been a lot of profound changes for me in my life. Actually, coming out and talking to people and sharing this deeply was something I never did. It was considered inappropriate. The way that I grew up. My mother was a very, reserved and private person, still very much is. And I'm not. I'm expressive, but I felt like I've always needed to hold that in because I was afraid of being cut down. And so I'm dealing with that, and I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone and approaching the idea that if I share what I have gone through, there might be some person, one person that will relate. They may not even like the video. They might not even make a comment. They may never reach out to me, but in some way, across the distance, across the quantum universe, somehow I've struck a chord, and they can identify and they know that they are not alone. Okay. So that's why I wanted to do this for you. So yeah, so this is a time of life for that every woman will go through. And so if you're in your early 40s and you think you got it tough, it gets harder, but it gets easier also in a way, because when you let go of all those things that you used to worry about, it's fine. It's fine. And you know that you're going to come through it stronger, wiser, and better in the long run. So that's Chiron return. And I hope that those of you that are going through this right now know that you're not alone. If you need a reading, if you need help, I'm here for you. I'm going through it too. Okay. So healing, transformation, midlife reflection. There's also a spiritual awakening here. I thought I was already sort of awakened, when I endeavored into this business. But man, I'm telling you, some of the most profound and most beautiful things are coming through right now for me. Just really, really amazing spiritual intelligence. Um, and then there's an integration of past experiences and a personal growth. So there's that. I want to erase some of this because there's an interesting mirror aspect that's also happening here that is pretty intense. Now, natally, I've got this nodal axis here where Jupiter and Ceres form a T-square. Okay, so that's super interesting. This is like balancing expansion with responsibility. It's in my 10th house, and this 10th house means that I am someone who is popular in what I do. And even when I wasn't on YouTube, as a physician in my community, very popular. People loved me. I had a waiting list, all of that. I gave all that up so that I could be here and doing this with the greater public at large. And so for me, it's about being in the public space and expanding spiritually and sharing those spiritual gifts and lessons. But it conflicts with where I've gone and where I'm going. It creates a tension for me because I realize that not everyone is on the same path, and so it's hard to figure out a way to make it work so that not only am I evolving, but so are the people that I'm that I'm working with. And yeah, when I was young and started my practice, I was very, very judgmental of a lot of things. And as time went on, that judgment went out the window. My clinical practice improved. So there's a lot of growth and expansion, change. What's the other word for this? Challenges and rewards as well. So that's been a whole life process for me. Okay, being popular and in the public eye, but also dealing with my own evolution. Okay, and not being judgmental of the of the attention that I get, so to speak. So then you have Saturn moving in on top of this. Now, this is in and of itself is not a bad aspect right here, having Saturn conjunct to Jupiter. This creates a level of responsibility and authority and expertise that's really, really quite incredible. I've been able to stand in my power in my career and in what I'm trying to do in a very confident way. In a way that is future forward looking. Considers the collective, considers everyone. It's humanitarian, it's thoughtful. And that energy trines on my natal Saturn, Lilith, Venus, okay, which is me, okay? This is me. This is Sirius, Saturn, and Venus right here. This is the teacher. This is bringing through the how to control your creation in order to better your life, in order to be of service around those that which you are. I don't know. Oh my gosh, let me fix my words. I sound like Yoda right now. um, you know, uh, the people that are around me, I help them with their creative endeavors. I show them like there are practical steps to become the creative master here on earth, to create heaven on earth. And so that's that Jupiter Saturn trine that I already have. And then there's a Saturn trine Saturn. So it means that the timing's really good right now. Everything's really nice for all of that to work. And it does help me with my overall evolutionary purpose. Okay. So here's where it gets tricky with that. So I've got Saturn now square to my nodes. And then I've also got the nodes square to my natal Saturn, little Venus, over here. Okay. Which means that even though my nodes are not aspecting each other in this particular time frame that we're looking at, what I'm doing is still what I do for my own evolutionary journey affects the collective. Okay, so when you can draw a connection between your nodes and the collective nodes, the inner work that you're doing will affect will ripple outward and affect the greater collective. It's a magical trick of alchemy and quantum physics that I could explain, but trust me, it works. It's what all the old sages say that you need to do. I haven't even talked about my sun yet. Okay, so this is just what's going on. In general, with my creative process, with my evolutionary destiny, there's an expansion. There's also a level of responsibility and power and expertise that's going along with it. Ah, and it's really affecting my second and 10th house, which is how I earn money and my public image. Okay. So those are the big ones right there. And then I've got some general sort of long-term energy on top of what the sun is doing. Ooh, so let me show you this. And then we'll get into that mystic square. So my sons are trining onto Neptune and trining onto that collective north node. Right? So I have this grand trine right here. This is nice. You guys see that? I'm not drawing it very well because I'm trying to draw with my mouse and I'm holding the pen. Does that even make sense? Now the sun's also form an aspect to the north node, to my north node too, even though natally it doesn't do that. Okay, so there's that grand trine. It's third house, 11th house, and seventh house. It's partnering with friends to bring through the knowledge. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. The information that I'm bringing through with learn.drdani.com is probably the only place where you're going to get this comprehensive level of energy. This is what I'm working towards. It's a place for people to go to learn the knowledge of the cosmos for the modern constellational astrology studies. You can go to tropical stuff and you can get all of that, and that's definitely valuable and you will learn it, but you won't learn it in context with the actual sky, and that's what we're doing. And it's coming through spirit. It's being channeled through. I'm having all these crazy spiritual experiences. I'm meditating a lot. It's sometimes stuff I can't even put into words, but I'm trying to bring it through. I'm trying to work with spirit because this is what my North Node means, partnering with spirit, partnering with the ascended masters. That's my journey. That's what I'm trying to do. And what that does is it helps me create this gorgeous expression, channeled directly from the cosmos, directly from the cosmic, to further the collective evolution. So that's where I feel like I'm at, if that sounds egotistical, with sun energy. So there you go. It is what it is. But I do have a couple of tougher aspects here. So let's get into the squares, because I already talked about the main T square there. But what you might have noticed underlying these squares is a Jupiter square Jupiter and a Mars square Mars energy. Let's read into that. Because it's tapping into that natal T square, which is tapping into my natal nodes right now. So there's an expansion of action here. Mars square Mars is conflict and tension. It is increased ambition. It's assertiveness. It's aggression. It's self-awareness. It's opportunities for growth. My Mars just wants to take action. It just wants to be loved in Leo. And Mercury wants me to express that. So the actions that I'm taking, they want to be recognized. Maybe they won't be. And that might cause some frustration for me. That might cause some anger for me. Like, why can't the whole world see how amazing this is? That journey, that inward journey to the self, of knowing the self and loving the self and accepting the wounds and trusting spirit. It sounds so simple, but it is so profoundly hard and beautiful and wonderful all at the same time. And this is this Mars square Mars energy for me. It's in my first house, the transiting Mars, and then the my natal Mars is in my fourth house. So it's, where do I come from? Well, how do I fit into this whole grand scheme of things at the moment? What actions do I really, that I desirous to take? What action should I not take? Because sometimes the best action is inaction. So I have a little bit of juggling there, a little bit of tension with that. And then the Jupiter squared Jupiter, it's an overexpansion. It's contrasting beliefs. It's like, so you learn something that's deeply profound, but it goes against what you've always felt or always known. And this happens in the Jupiter 12-year cycle. It happens twice, so it's about every 3 years that you, or every 6 years that you get a Jupiter square Jupiter. So um, this is my first square Jupiter in the Jupiter cycle. Currently, my Jupiter Saturn cycle, if you anchor it to Saturn, is coming to a close. And once Jupiter passes the star Sirius, I will be in a whole new, different type of career cycle. And I've anticipated something within the next 3 years anyway, in terms of what I'm doing career wise. My contract's only 3 years. I've got big plans for what I want to do and how I want to help the public and be of service in a bigger and larger way. So after Jupiter passed my ascending, that's when I switched jobs because it was time to till the field for what's next. And that's what I'm doing. So I have more time to plan, to think, to create, to bring all these things together. And so once Jupiter hits that Saturn, Lilith, Venus, 3 more years, it's going to be going. But yeah, but right now it's squaring my natal Jupiter, which also offers opportunities for self-reflection and for growth. Yeah. So I'm feeling all of that, definitely and for sure. So those are the two squares going on. Should we talk about that big T square? Yeah, let me do that. And then I want to talk to you about the bigger planets and what they're doing. And then we'll be done. Whew. How's that so far for you guys? I mean, I definitely can see that going on. I see all the synchronicities happening. It explains to me why my birthdays are so tough. I always feel like August is always a really hard time for me energetically, and I'm feeling that. I'm feeling it. And I'm because of my age, because each year I learn a little bit more. It gets easier and easier, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get through it. It's gonna be fine. Do me a favor, if you like it so far, please give the video a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Join the Fellowship of 13 Signs. All my links are below. So if you want to join the school, if you want to get a reading, all that's below. You guys can do that. Okay. Let's get back into it and talk about this T square, which is Pluto, Chiron, Mercury, and Uranus. Okay. So this deal for me, it's a T square natally between Mercury, Chiron, and Uranus. You can see that. But because of where Pluto is right now, it's this just constant T square. Because my Mercury's right here and Pluto has been opposing my Mercury for several years now. So I am going through this tremendous transformation process. This mystic square is like it's pressure. It's creating something that is changing internally, and the expression of that outward. I think I'm more than halfway through it because I was feeling the pressure going into it. I felt the catalyzing moments, and I'm feeling like it's easing off. I feel like once this last Pluto retrograde is over, maybe by the middle of next year, I will be out of this phase. But it's unfortunate because it will remove my Pluto trine Pluto, because that has been my saving grace to take care of this Chiron return. The moon this day is going to highlight this T square for me right now. And so I'll keep using and learning if when something is triggered here in this T square, because that's what happens. The T square is like a loop. And then as the moon goes through, it hits these points and you feel it, you feel it, you feel it. It's a lunar cycle. So on my birthday, I'm going to feel that Mercury opposing Pluto energy, or Pluto opposing Mercury energy, which is essentially a deep mental transformation. It's an uncovering of hidden truths. It's psychological insights, and it's more challenge and growth. Okay. So when the moon hits that, deep insights are going to be revealed. And then a few days later, it hits on to Uranus, and Uranus is opposing Chiron. And Uranus opposing Chiron is a balance between healing and the need for freedom, right? So there's a strong urge to break away from old patterns and do new conventional things. So yeah, I'm always looking for new ways to do things, okay? And this is why I'm always stressing to you guys, because right now in the current sky we have Lilith in opposition to, or Lilith in a T-square with Chiron opposing, where is it? Yeah, Uranus and Lilith are opposing one another, and Venus is in the T-square with them, and which is the breaking of the pattern, okay? And so there is Chiron and Uranus breaking out of those wounding patterns. That's what I'm doing. That's what this is all about. That's what Pluto's helping me do. It is saying you can break this pattern. You can do it with the power of Pluto. You can do it with the power of energy in the matter. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You guys you wouldn't even understand. You'd be so amazed if I told you everything that's happened over the last 3 years. Right? So then we go around, and then there's this Pluto finishing up the transit through my eighth house. So that's even more profound. Fifth house, eighth house. This is incredible. This is amazing. My whole idea of how to access the spiritual is completely changed, and it's easy now. So yeah, these transits can be tough, but they help us, right? They change us. They make us better. They make us stronger. And then when we go around here, we get back over to Chiron, which is, you know, all of this is about breaking the pattern. You can discover where the wounds are, where they come from, what they mean by breaking the pattern. That's what Uranus does, right? Break that pattern. The power of breaking pattern is so immense, even if you just do one thing, because what it does is it gives you the control. So, but it requires being mindful. You cannot walk through your life. I'm going to give you some wisdom here. I'm feeling some wisdom come in. You cannot walk through your life as a zombie. You cannot wake up and just do something every morning because that's what you do every morning. I mean, sometimes it's good, but you want to at least check in with yourself, at least every lunar cycle, and say, is this working for me? Do I want to do it this way from now on? Do I want to change it this way for just a little bit? Because if you can do that in a mindful way for yourself, you end up walking around in a flow state. And things that might have happened to you, you can watch them just drift on by like it wasn't a big deal at all, like it wouldn't have even affected you. You just sort of notice it's there. Whereas if you hadn't been going through things mindfully and had been going through things rote and routinely, and just because you've always done it that way, stuff will happen. Stuff will break. People will disappear. Things will happen. So um, I encourage you to consider that, just even if it's the smallest thing ever, like the way that you write, or the way that you pick up your pen, the way that you eat, the way that you put your clothes on, the way anything you can do it with almost anything, and that practice, that exercise makes you more mindful in the day to day. It's just something that becomes a habit. The only habit you should have is being mindful and changing things and going with the flow. So anyway, I hope that was at the very least entertaining, that you learned a little something about me and that it was fun for you. If not, thanks for stopping by. And next week, I think I'm going to be doing a presentation with my friends, Julie and Maria. Oh my God, when we get our Trine energy together, we are just, oh, it's really, really fun. We could probably go for 2 hours. We're going to talk about Jupiter and Mars together because that perfects on the 14th of August, which will be after the Olympics is over, and smack dab in the middle of another political party's convention. So while Mercury's retrograde. So that should be interesting to see. So crazy times ahead. Thank you all so much for being with me, and I will see you soon. Namaste. I love you, my friends.